Let's go.
How is everybody? Welcome back to the Breath of Fresh Air webcast on YouTube. As you can see, I have Patrick with me. I am
Hey.
Charles. And we have some topics to jump into. So, Patrick, look, there's a lot of places where we can start. A lot of stuff been happening. Should we even have the Masters golf tournament going on? It's how crazy this year has been. but,
Hey,
but
that golf tournament it's been pretty good, man.
yeah, I mean, Dustin Johnson was the winner there, so congrats to him. Man,
I think they had like 4 or 5 lead changes in this one this year. It was crazy, dude. It was
it
good.
must have been in the first couple of rounds, man, because Dustin Johnson pulled away. Like, this dude was beast.
In the second day.
All right, got you.
Early in the second day, like I mean, probably like first hole. See ya.
Well, shoot, man. Hey, all right. Let's start with college football. Well, I guess we talked about golf for a little bit, but jump into college football real quick because Patrick, I want to talk to you about Michigan. This is an absolute derailment that is going on.
No, that's been a derailment for years.
You know what? It's looking apparent though that those players have given up on Jim Harbaugh. They got beat 49-11 by Wisconsin. And Wisconsin hadn't even played for 2 weeks because of COVID. And they came out there looking sharp, fresh, everything. And Michigan just looking sick. 49-11 was that final score. So, look, Patrick, let's just come out and say it. Should Jim Harbaugh have just been fired in the locker room after the game?
Jim Harbaugh should have been fired 2 years ago, dude. I mean, and that's just being honest. Because look, in his tenure at Michigan, has he beat Ohio State yet?
No.
He is what, 0-90?
Yes.
Because I'm just going to go ahead and put future records out there. He is not
over. Just over.
He's no. but it's like this, man. It's like, look, one of the biggest reasons why Harbaugh was brought on was to put Ohio State in check, to keep Michigan State in check, to beat Wisconsin's. He done it, and he's been like put in the rankings falsely. Like he should have like that Michigan team is so much better than what Jim Harbaugh coaches. He's not getting the best out of his players. He's not coaching them right. A lot of times, man, like I'm watching him play. He's coaching not to lose. And you know how many times we said you can't coach not to lose. You got to coach to win. Because if you coach not to lose, you're going to lose. We've seen it time and time again. And maybe if you got a 50 point lead with 30 seconds left in the game, yeah, play not to lose. You know what I mean? But right now, he's going in first quarter already defeated. So yeah, he's lost the team. He's lost the team several years ago. 2 years ago is when I would have probably projected him getting fired, but he didn't. Whatever reason, I don't know. But yeah, at this point, it's kind of like how South Carolina did. Muschamp was like, whew. They lost their game to Ole Miss, and deuces, bro.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Bro. Step in my office. Why? Because you're fired. That's why. I mean, look, he should have been gone 2 years ago, and they kept him around. And the hot seat that's being generous at this point. He's got to go.
Yeah, Michigan. What's really.
Oh, and let me say this one last thing, and then you can. The thing about Jim Harbaugh is you're either one of two coaches. You're either a college coach or you're an NFL coach. And that's the thing about Jim Harbaugh is he's not a college coach. He can get the most out of his players in the NFL because he's got long he's got longevity with those players. You know, he can build around a player. He can't build the way he's used to building. He needs to go back to the NFL and do that, because he can't win in college, and he's not going to.
Well, I think so looking at Michigan, it just seems to me, I got to catch a couple of the games, not a whole bunch of them, but I caught a little bit of the game they lost to Michigan State and the game they lost to Indiana. Now, when you're thinking about Michigan, you're saying to yourself, these are games, regardless of the year, Michigan should probably be able to win. Now, Michigan State, that's a rivalry game. That one has proven it can go either way. Definitely, you should beat Indiana, though. Indiana is a basketball school. So you should be able to beat them. But looking at it, Patrick, both Michigan State and especially Indiana and Wisconsin, they just look like they have better athletes. Now, if that is just a thing about Jim Harbaugh and the players have just given up, well, okay, I mean, fair enough. But they just look like those two teams, Indiana and Wisconsin, just look like they have better athletes. That's a problem.
And they don't. That's the crazy thing about it, is they don't have better athletes. They have right at the same level athletes.
You would think they would be right on the level with Ohio State or somebody, right? I mean, this is Michigan we're talking about. You would think.
Well, you would think.
You would think they should be able to get good recruiting classes to where they have the talent there to compete with some of your other teams, your top teams. But it is such a gap. I mean, a huge gap on the field.
And it's not player it's not the players themselves. It's just Harbaugh cannot coach them. He doesn't know how.
But the teams look faster. Look, when Indiana is throwing jump ball passes and their receivers are just beasting their quarters, that's a problem.
Yeah,
that is a problem. They literally playing basketball on the football field. Hey, dude, for Indiana, go up there and get it. And we're gonna beast this Michigan corner. That's what I'm saying.
Bring the basketball team out. Put the point guard under center, and let's see how it goes.
That's what it looks like. And Patrick, that's what I'm saying there. Because that should not be happening to Michigan's players like that. Yes, you're gonna get the occasional dude is just a beast. Like we'll talk about a play later on in the NFL in a minute with Arizona and DeAndre Hopkins. But
what a play though.
Yeah, it was.
What a play.
But those plays, those happen. Every now and again, you just have a good athlete who can go up there and make plays like that. Those plays happen from time to time. Indiana should not just be going out there just saying, we're just going to jump ball you all day long. That's what they were doing to Michigan. That should not be happening. And then Wisconsin just completely just stopped. Wisconsin just completely just dominated them on all sides of the ball. Offensive, defense, special teams, you name it. The offensive line was just running them over. It was really disgusting to watch.
Bench players were even out benching Michigan at that point. I mean, look, Wisconsin was like, I bet I can sit better than Michigan right now. Watch this. Bench players were out sitting Michigan at that time, man. I'm telling you.
So Bear came on there. He said maybe the players just gave up on the season and quit trying. And Bear, yes, that's what it looks like to me.
They gave up on the coach. They gave up on the season. Harbaugh's got to go, bro. He's got to go. Bro. Get out.
Terrible. Patrick, before we get on to the NFL, I just want to ask you this about college football in general, because a lot of games are continually getting postponed or canceled. Now, I'm going to the Pac-12 for a little bit about this because Utah still hasn't played a game yet. Remember, the Pac-12 was supposed to play a 6-game season. The most they can play is 4. And so how how is this going to work? If you're the committee, if you're the college football committee who is in charge of putting these teams together for a playoff, how are you gonna do this? This looks like a mess. This is just out of control, gonna be messy.
At this point, man, I mean, honestly, I'm really disappointed that the Pac-12 even entered in the conversation. You know,
I feel
and
the same way
not
about
here,
the Big Ten too.
not here. I'm talking about the Pac-12 entering in the conversation of even starting a season.
Yeah,
Because I mean, at this point, when you say I'm going to play a 6-game season, you're already at 50%. All right. If you apply that to school, you're already failing.
right.
You failed. Pac-12, you failed. Everything that you ever even thought about doing, you failed. You failed your fans. You failed your athletes. You failed your college. Everything. They failed. Because at that point, when you hit that point where you're only giving me half a season, don't waste my time. Don't waste my time.
I'm still upset with the Big Ten. Yeah, the way how they handled everything. The Pac-12 just followed them. That's all they did. So I'm not as mad at the Pac-12 as I am the Big Ten. I just wanted to go there to start off because
they're in more disarray than any of the other ones.
Yeah.
They don't even know what they're doing. They're like, oh, well, you know, Big Ten started their season, so 3 weeks later we'll start ours. Oh, come on, man. Just get out of here, dude. They shouldn't even be a Power 5 conference, dude. They should be like a independent. At best.
Major. You put them there with the American Athletic Conference.
Either that or 6A high school. Get them out of here, dude. I'm so sick of the Pac-12 and their wishy-washy whatever they call their athletic department. Dude,
well, they followed the Big Ten. That's what they did, which makes it even worse. That they followed the Big Ten. They really couldn't come up with a decision as a whole. And like I said, you know how I feel about the Big Ten and what they did, because they were the first ones to say, oh, no, man, we out. Well, out of the Power 5 conferences, well, I guess it was the only two, them and the Pac-12, who decided they weren't going to play and then come back and then start to play. And basically, in essence, just throw the whole college football season in flux. Because to my understanding, the NCAA, they were prepared to have the season like normal. Now, if that's the case, and they said they wanted to do that, because I don't know how those conversations went, but if they said we want to have the college football season as it will be, but we'll leave it up to the conferences to see if they want to do conference only scheduling or whatever the case, then cool. Conferences said, well, all right, we'll go ahead and we'll do the thing. Okay, take that back. The SEC, ACC, and Big 12 said they will go ahead and play their conference schedules. Well, the Big 12, as a matter of fact, I think the Big 12, I know Texas played UTEP. So I know they were prepared to play a full schedule. So outside of the conference.
Well, Big 12 was ready to play. Like, they were like, what virus?
Yeah. Yeah.
ACC was like, okay, hold on. Conference only. and I was like, okay, that's cool. And I'm fine with the conference only, but at least they started the season. No, bro, Big 12 was like, I don't give a crap what's out there. We're going full out. Let's play. Let's play. Ohio State, come on. Oh, you opted out?
All right, okay. You tell.
I was about to let go too, bro. But they were like, okay, well, next up. Okay, who's next? UTEP. Okay, bring it on, bro. Let's go. Notre Dame's over here going, well, we got to give money to the ACC. ACC's like, look, bro, you ain't got to play. Bye. And they'd be like, okay, well, hold on. Here's money.
And look, and at least Notre Dame, I mean, say what you want. And the independent team. So I'm going Notre Dame and BYU here. They're going to have full schedules. They found a way to put together seasons to where they could play. Let's see. You had Cincinnati, who I guess is also supposed, I mean, they're highly ranked as well. We'll see if they get into the running. It's just it's weird. I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna go in there and say that. Let me see.
Well, yeah, Bear, that's true. The SEC was ready to play outside of conference, and most of them were. Every team was, because I kind of had we did a webcast about how I felt the SEC and the ACC should keep their out of conference schedules with each other because they were still playing in the same bubble. Yeah. Because you got teams like Georgia Tech that has played every single year since 1926, and this is the first year they're not doing that. Those long-standing traditions like that, and Alabama has them, Vanderbilt has them, Georgia has them, Florida has them. Everybody has them in the SEC. So the SEC was ready too, but they also understood bigger picture. And they wanted to start on time. So if they were to start on time, then they were going to have to go to that conference only because the ACC had already said they were going to. So that knocked out 2 games for each one of the SEC. So they had to kind of follow suit only because they had to, not because they wanted to. So yes, you're right, Bear. They wanted to, but when ACC dropped theirs, that took out some of the games, and then it kind of was a domino effect. But yes, the SEC was ready. They didn't care either. They wanted to play. Nick Saban was one of those. It was like, I don't give a damn who it is. Bring them on.
Yeah, I mean, it was a conference. It was a conference decision once everybody else decided they were going to stay in the conference. And so I'm not trying to single out any team, like, because Bear's going to say whatever he wants to about Bama, of course. But love you, Bear. But look, yes, I'm pretty sure those teams, because those individual teams aren't trying to lose those games. Yeah, I mean. And then, I mean, whether it's Florida State, you have Georgia playing against Georgia Tech, South Carolina playing against Clemson. I mean, those games they're not trying to lose that. The fan bases aren't trying to lose those. No. So, I mean, I think those are the just conference decisions just kind of came up. And I think they were also kind of trying to do a little bit of a quanti bubble. So just, I guess, just kind of stay within the conference for the time being. I remember the conversation with Bama and TCU because, well, I live in the Fort Worth, Dallas area. So I remember those those talks are taking place. So, yeah, those games were going to happen. But, COVID done messed up a lot of stuff. So hopefully we could get back into a situation come next year where we could get back to a full schedule. But man, everything's just so crazy right now. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do this playoff, Patrick. This seems like this is going to be a complete and utter mess. Especially if you're going to go ahead and throw Ohio State in there.
They're probably going to do it the way baseball did it, which worked out very well, honestly. Mm-hmm. Take a couple of teams, put them in a centralized location, play a couple rounds.
Yep, and I will get on another basketball front here in a minute. But before we get to that, Patrick, let's talk about a little bit of NFL. And let's see, the Buffalo-Arizona game that turned out to be the game of the week, and the DeAndre Hopkins play where he just beasted 3 Buffalo Bills to make that catch. Yeah. Look, I want to say this before we move on as well. A lot of people, you know how it gets with the television coverage, the radio coverage, and so many people are quick to point out the negative of a play. So, in other words, what did Buffalo not do? What did Buffalo did? What could they have done better to prevent that play? First of all, there was 3 people back there with DeAndre Hopkins.
But 4.
There are 3 people back there. They were playing to defend the touchdown. It just didn't happen because sometimes, Patrick, as we were talking about in regards to Indiana just catching jump balls over Michigan, you have an athlete, you have a player who can go up and make these plays. This is why it is imperative these guys get chances to make plays, especially in situations like this. So you give Kyler Murray credit for being able to roll out to get there.
That play like almost 10 seconds.
Yeah, dudes was chasing him. You made a quick little move to get outside, and then he just got that throw off. Like he's falling out of bounds. And he just winged that bad boy. Yeah.
He kind of remind me of Brett Favre.
Yeah. Because he threw it. Yeah. He wasn't even looking at the play, Patrick. He was looking at the screen on the other side of the field.
He had no choice. He was already out of bounds and like halfway in the stand. Dude, when I saw that, I was like, I gotta watch that again, bro. He come out like this and goes 60 yards down the field, man. I was like, that's impressive, man.
He said that's the luck I'm always talking about. Randall's Bear, that was a good play, dude.
It happens. I mean, look, you don't win all games because of 100% skill. You got to have a few lucky plays in there, a few lucky calls, you know. But no, that was no. They cashed in all their luck for the year on that one.
That man made a play though. Like it's not right, though. He went up there and took it on 3 people. I mean, I'm sorry. Like,
I don't know how he got up that high though.
Neither. He got the ball. He took it there. He wrestled it away from dudes. He made a play. Sometimes you have to give credit to players making the plays. Those are playmakers making plays there. Luck is
what he gets paid.
Look, Patrick.
And we talk about
it. Luck is all right, man. Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go up here and try to make this play. It got tipped twice, and then it just happened to fall on his chest. Oh yeah!
All right. I'm the best.
That's not what happened here. That was Kyler Murray scrambles. We know he likes to scramble. He got outside, he launched it, and DeAndre Hopkins made the play. So good on Arizona. They are sitting. Well, look, they are in a 3-way tie for first in the NFC West. The luck was to throw that Bear. Or is it because you're hating on Kyler Murray because he went to Oklahoma? Is that what's going on, Bear? Go ahead and leave that in the comments too. He said the throw was luck.
Yeah, he's hating.
You're hating right now, man.
You're hating because it's Oklahoma. Oh, let me talk. You know what? I do want to bring this up. 2 things. One, Tua.
Playing very well.
He played quite well on Sunday. But you know what irritates the crap out of me? And bro, let me tell you. Oh, my fantasy took a hit when Nick Chubb, that sorry piece of crap.
You loved him when he was in Georgia.
Oh, well, no, I still like him. I just don't like him on Sunday when the dude scrambled for 60 yards and goes out on the 1-yard line. I was like, that's all I needed. That's all I needed was that 1 touchdown, dude. I was killing it on FanDuel, bro. Killing it. That he runs out on the 1-yard line. I went from 3rd to like 230,000th place.
That's that was definitely on Scott Van Pelt's show of Bad Beats.
Bro, I was like, you're gonna cost me that much money, bro. I should invoice your butt. I should invoice it. Oh, I'm so mad.
Yeah, I was actually in a Buffalo Wild Wings sitting there watching it, and I said, "Oh, people's gonna be upset."
I was one of them. I was one of them, dude, because I'm sitting here going, "Oh, dude, I'm about to cash in, baby. I'm about to cash in," and he goes, "No, wait." Seriously?
Because look, so I'm in there and I go, "Oh," and I just hear a "What the hell?"
Dude, you going? See, this is my thing. I get the play. I get it. There's a minute left in the fourth quarter. You're up by 3. You don't want to put the ball back into who are they playing? Houston's hands? Yeah. You don't want to put the ball back in Houston. Okay, I get that. But my thing is like a minute left. You're already up by 3. That means you up by 10. I understand that's still 2 scores. They can score fast, get an onside kick, recover. I get it. I understand. But you gotta put that game in your defense's hands and make me my money. No, I was so mad. That's all I needed was that one touchdown, man, and I would have cashed in pretty nicely. But no, he gonna run out on the 1 yard line, dude. No, that is not Georgia football, man.
Man, yeah, that is. Speaking of that, so I mean, I guess you have, so as it was, Cleveland won 10-7, should have been 17-7 probably, but so they're sitting at 6-3. I don't think they're that good though. I don't see the Browns doing anything. With Arizona, look, they are tied for first place in that division with Seattle and the Rams. They are all sitting at 6-3, and they actually play Seattle on Thursday night. So there's one of your crucial games coming up for the week. I was looking at and a lot of people are jumping on Baltimore and Lamar Jackson, saying, hey, maybe people have figured out Lamar Jackson. New England beat them 23-17. And look, New England looking like they might have figured out some stuff. Now, I don't know what they're going to do. It's going to be crazy with the NFL because you're going to have that extra spot in the playoffs. So there's a lot of teams now, kind of like what happened when baseball added that extra wild card. Now you have the extra little spot there, and people are like, we get in the dance. Maybe we could do something. So New England's sitting in 4-5. I don't think they're going to really make a run, but they could. I'm not going to be ready to count Bill Belichick out. The AFC East, a little bit tougher now this year with the emergence of Buffalo and Miami. So I don't know if it's one of those guarantees. I mean, they have one more game with the Jets. That'll be a win. But
silently, that's a win.
The Jets. But
sitting pretty at 0-9, if anybody wants to know.
Say that again.
Sitting pretty at 0-9.
Wow. Oh, real quick. So I did see your comment, Bear, saying that you're not being salty now that they're not in college. All right. Well, you fooled me with these comments, but I'll take it.
Saying.
I believe you, Bear. I believe you. But Drew Brees is gonna be out for 2 to 3 weeks. 5 broken ribs, Patrick. 5. And a collapsed lung.
He took a hit.
He did. And okay.
Surprisingly enough, the man went back out there after that and finished off the first half.
Yeah, and okay, and to me, it was a good hit. It called roughing the passer on it. I didn't agree with that call. I thought that was a terrible call. But be as it may, I mean, he went back out there and threw a touchdown pass.
With 5 broken ribs.
Yeah. And so now, he's going to be out for, I guess, a minimum of 2 to 3 weeks. New Orleans turns to Jameis Winston now. I tend to think they will still be in good hands. I think Jameis Winston will do fine there with Sean Payton calling the plays. There might be a little bit more downfield throwing going on because Jameis Winston has a stronger arm than Drew Brees has. There might be a little bit more opening up of the offense more so. And that's saying something because, I mean, it's not like the offense was just totally limited with Drew Brees in there, but Drew Brees doesn't quite have that arm strength he once had. So now there might be a little bit of things opening up. I'm kind of interested to see how Jameis Winston's going to do. And could this be like one of those things like with Teddy Bridgewater last year, how he was able to, when Drew Brees got hurt, he was able to resurrect his career, and now he's the starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. Maybe Jameis Winston gets a little bit of this too. We'll see, but he's going to have a chance. Oh yeah, Bear. He can see now. He had LASIK surgery.
Maybe he won't go 30 for 30.
Let's see if he could go 10 for 5.
Honestly, halfway through the season, man, a little over halfway through the season, I'm looking at this. If he really wants to resurrect his career, doing what he definitely needs to go at the minimum 10 or 5. I'm thinking probably more like 12, 13 for 3.
I mean, you know what? Honestly, this could be a situation where Jameis Winston can show he could be the man there. Because look, Drew Brees, this could be his last year. Let's be honest. This could be his last year.
He's starting to do a lot of really tough injuries, you know.
Yeah, and if Drew Brees decides he's going to step away, Jameis Winston could come right there in that spot. Now, of course, they already have Taysom Hill there too, so they could have a nice little 2 quarterback combo there. But hey, if Winston could come in here and show he's grown, he could be the starting quarterback for the Saints come next year or whenever Drew Brees starts. So I think this is important for Jameis Winston in more ways than one here.
Oh yeah. I mean, honestly, to me, this is his last chance right here. You're either going to be the starting quarterback for a team, or you're going to live out your rest of your career as a backup quarterback. So he's got to do something with these next 2 weeks, these next 2, possibly 3 games. I'm going to probably say 4 or 5. Broken ribs are not just something that you come back from in 2 weeks. You just don't. Not even 3, maybe 5 or 6, depending on a bye week. I think Jameis Winston has about 5 weeks to deal with. He better do something in these 5 weeks because if he doesn't, and let's say New Orleans goes out of these 5, he goes 2 for 3 or 3 for 2, I don't think it's going to cut it. And he's got to go 4-1 or 5-0.
And it's the collapsed lung. Like, I mean, the broken rib, because like you say, there's 5 broken ribs, but that collapsed lung, that's scary.
That's even worse. Because now you're looking at a man that, you know, and don't get me wrong, I know Drew Brees doesn't scramble much, but I mean, still, as much as he walks and licks his hands, that's a lot of breath he's making. Because I mean, I swear I think he licks his fingerprints off of his hands.
It hurts. It just hurts to move. Period. When you have that,
I've had 3 broken ribs, bro, and every time I went like this, I cried.
Hurts to move. Hurts to breathe. Like I laugh. Yeah, like I haven't had broken ribs, but I've had bruised, and that's painful. So I mean, I can't even imagine how broken ribs feel. I mean, ugh, man. So we'll see how everything goes with New Orleans and the rest of the league as it starts to get into that time where Thanksgiving, people start to separate themselves. We start to see which teams are ready to make that competition or make that run to the Super Bowl. This year, I don't really know if anybody's really separating themselves. I mean, the only team I am sure about is Kansas City. The rest of them, I know Steelers fans are going to come after me. We're 9-0. We're undefeated. I don't think y'all are that good, Pittsburgh. I'm sorry. I know y'all record says y'all are 9-0. I don't think y'all are that good. I think y'all are going to get got at some point. but hey, y'all are just as much in the race as anybody. So
I know there was a certain New England Patriot team that went 16-0, got all the way to the Super Bowl and got their butts handed to them.
Yeah. So there's no telling what can happen.
That's what happens. You don't get cocky. Now, do they have the potential to finish off the season? Absolutely. They have the potential. It's there. Problem is do they get cocky? Do they get cocky at a certain point and get derailed? And that's what they got to watch out for. Not only are they – go ahead.
I was just going to say real quick, I wouldn't even be surprised if Jacksonville gives them a struggle this week.
They could. But it's one of those things, man. They're 9-0. Not only are they playing the team that they're playing on the field, they're also playing against now. Now they're playing against analysts. They're playing against critics. They're playing against anybody that does not want to see an undefeated team at this point. So there's a lot of haters out there now. You know how it is. You know how it is when you're doing good, man. Haters come out of nowhere.
People just want to tear you down. Yes.
Tear you down. No, truthfully, I hope they do go undefeated because that's great. I mean, that's great. I want every team to win every single week, but they can't. Except for USC, Ohio State, and Notre Dame. I want them all to lose.
Well, shoot, Patrick. Hey, so before we get out of here, let's talk about some of the NBA because they have the draft that's coming up tomorrow, and then free agency starts Friday. Now, I don't know who all is out there for free agency, but I just wanted to have a laugh with this conversation because it's been reported that James Harden is interested in joining the Brooklyn Nets. So
I heard about this.
So you mean to tell me James Harden's going to go up there to Brooklyn to play with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving? Those three dudes are going to be on the court at the same time. Look, needless to say, there's one basketball. I don't know how. This 0% chance of that working if it ever did happen. There's no way. First of all, Kyrie Irving, he's too much of a cancer.
Kevin Durant is useless without the ball, and so is James Harden.
Kevin Durant is moody for no reason too, and so I mean he's gonna feel like if Brooklyn does have any success, he's gonna feel underappreciated, just like he did when he was with Golden State, knowing he joined a loaded team. But whatever, it's another conversation.
Then burner accounts come out.
Yeah, burner. Yes, the fake Twitter accounts. Let's get it. Burner accounts. And then James Harden, same thing. Got to have the ball in his hand. All three of these players have to have the ball in their hands to get the maximum effectiveness. And they're all offensive players. They're not giving you anything else. None of them are. James Harden, you know he can't play defense. Kyrie Irving
already got a better beard than James Harden.
Kevin Durant.
I'm just saying, already got a better beard.
Kevin Durant is he's an all right help defender, but that's about it. And then Kyrie Irving, defense is optional for him too. So you're going to have all these dudes. Look, the Brooklyn Nets are going to be in a lot, if this happens, they're going to be in a lot of 150 to 145 games because they can't stop anybody. And all they're going to say is, we'll get it back on offense. So
that's all they're going to do. Leave 3 down here and 2 over here. Throw in, pass down, score. Let them come down and do the same thing. Throw in, score. And that's all they're going to do. I honestly, James Harden needs to really, really evaluate his career and really think about it because he's got a good thing in Houston. He's got a good thing in Houston. And leaving is only going to cause much more anxiety and a bunch of BS that he honestly doesn't need at this point in his career. Just finish it out. Do what you need to do. Retire. Get off the court so somebody else better can step on the court and take your place.
Yeah, I think what has happened, maybe this is what James Harden is thinking. He's made more than enough money. Obviously, I mean, he's got the endorsement deal with Adidas, and the contracts he has signed in Houston are stupid. Maybe I think he's trying to get to a situation where he can perhaps. Now, we just said him going to Brooklyn. I don't think that's the way. But he's trying to get into a situation where he would have a chance to win a ring, try to win a championship. Now, as it stands right now, it doesn't appear that would happen in Houston unless they can get somebody else down there to help out. And then I'm not talking about Russell Westbrook. That wasn't going to work either because basically you have the same player, dudes who need to have the ball in their hands. And so it's just somewhere he's going to have to maybe get in a situation where, look, now this might make you laugh what I'm about to say here.
No, say do I have.
Yeah, but maybe he could go up to Philly, trade Ben Simmons out of there, and then you can have him in there paired with Joel Embiid. Now, this is funny. This is
okay.
I know this is.
I was actually going to say Anthony Davis because he's opted out. Maybe Anthony Davis comes to Houston.
Well, Anthony Davis, he's resigning with the Lakers. Like I don't see him going
out, I thought.
He did opt out, but I think what that opt out was to get a restructured deal where it'd be a more long-term 5-year deal. They're going to give him that money. He ain't going nowhere. Or at least I don't think so. Anthony Davis will be a Laker. But if you compare him with Joel Embiid is definitely a little immature. He needs to mature. He needs to stop drinking chocolate milkshakes on playoff game days.
But Mom,
yeah. But if maybe you can trade him for Ben Simmons, because Ben Simmons can't shoot. We know Ben Simmons can't shoot. Doesn't look like he wants to shoot. Doesn't look like he's even working on shooting. Plus, he's always hurt. At least with James Harden, you know he's going to be out there. Yes, we get on him about his liability on defense, but James Harden shows up. He plays every game. He's always there. He's durable. You bring him up to Philadelphia, pair him with Joel Embiid. Now you have a good inside-outside combo where you could keep Joel Embiid inside. It opens things up for him to operate inside. Yes, I know Joel Embiid, he'll fade out to the three-pointer sometimes, fall in love with the jumper. He has that skill set, but you want to see him inside operating. Going in there, he's 7'2", he's got the weight, he's got the versatility. Let him operate in there. James Harden can operate outside. That's just a proposal that I would do. If I'm looking at that, I think it would be a much better mix for him to go to Philly than it would be for him to go to Brooklyn because you're basically playing with two of the same players.
And I agree. I mean, granted, I was not really thinking about Philly, but honestly, it makes a lot of sense, especially being teamed up into that team in that system, because honestly, that's the one thing Philly is actually missing is an outside shooter.
Yes, somebody who can spread the court good. Yes.
Yeah. But let's experiment with this whole Anthony Davis. And granted, chances are he probably will sign back with the LA. But I mean, how interesting would that be? Is if he does go to Houston? Because what is Houston missing? An inside man.
Yes.
So that could be possible. Maybe Joel gets traded to Houston, and that's a possibility. I don't know. I doubt Philly is gonna trade Joel anytime soon. But James Harden is. I mean, he's got a good setup in Houston. But I agree that actually makes a lot of sense. I didn't even think about Philly, but one thing Philly needs is an outside shooter, and James Harden instantly moves that needle for Philly. You know what I'm saying?
It's just going to be rough because of contracts. And so if you're
contracts,
yeah, and because to me, if Houston, I personally think Houston needs to just tear down and start over. That's just me personally. The general manager, he's actually in Philly now. Daryl Morey, he's in Philly. The coach, Mike D'Antoni, who needed to go a long time ago, he left, and now he's an assistant coach for Brooklyn. Crazy. Just go ahead, continue to tear down. If you could trade Russell Westbrook, trade him. And if James Harden wants to go, trade him too. Now, Russell Westbrook is going to be hard to trade because Russell Westbrook has a stupid contract and nobody seems to want him. And so
I remember when we used to call him Mr. 50-50. Now he's like Mr.
30-70.
30-70, 25, 15-85 maybe. Because I mean, he lost his hustle, and that's what makes that whole scenario really hard, because now all he wants to do is shoot threes and rush back to the other end of the court, where he used
and he
to.
was never a good 3-point shooter ever.
And he was never a good 3-point shooter. But man, he pulled up from the parking lot, didn't give a crap. But he always got his own rebound. Now he ain't getting crap. So it's kind of weird with Russell, because now he's lost his hustle. Nobody wants him. I mean, he is actually a very cancerous to any team that he goes, and he doesn't match with anybody. Honestly,
he's a declining player, Patrick.
He is a declining player.
The thing is, when you rely so much on athleticism, that athleticism is going to go. It's going to go away at some point. Your muscles are not going to activate like they once did in the 20s. So he's 31, 32 years old now. He has to develop other parts of his game. He never did, because he relied so heavily on the athleticism. Now that's starting to catch up, and he still wants the ball in his hands all the time. Nobody's going to want a part of that, man. I mean, I don't even know if the Knicks want him, and the Knicks need all the help they can get. But
but again, he doesn't match with anybody. He's kind of like that lone player that just he's there. He's like Carmelo Anthony. Nobody matches up with Carmelo Anthony either. And Carmelo had that great contract in New York, and now I don't even know if he still plays anymore.
Yeah, he was with Portland.
He's with Portland now.
So I don't know if he's gonna stay with Portland or what he's gonna do, but man, yeah,
he's kind of a floater now, and Russell Westbrook's coming along right behind him, being that floater. But no, that back on Harden, I think that would be actually very interesting for him to go to Philly. That he moves the needle in Philly quick.
I would look into it. If I'm Philadelphia, I would say, look, here you can have Ben Simmons. I'm sorry, because Ben Simmons, to me, yes, he's young. Ben Simmons is a very young player, but he's been in the league for coming up on 4 or 5 years now. He still has not developed the jumper. He hasn't gotten better, and he's always hurt. So if you're Philly and it comes down to either trading either Embiid or Simmons, I'm keeping Joel Embiid.
Me too.
I would keep him, and I would try to get some people around him. And if James Harden is out there, I would, if I'm Philly, I would seriously think about making that call. Like, what do you want? Use for James Harden. Now, obviously, that's going to be a hefty price tag, but
Ben Simmons takes that hefty price tag and makes it kind of reasonable, because now you're looking at draft picks, possibly a couple of people off the bench. So you could give Ben Simmons a couple of people off the bench, 2 second-round draft picks. That's worth it for Harden. You
literally build around Ben Simmons in Houston. That would be the perfect piece to me if you're talking about tearing down and start over. Build around that guy.
But then you tell Ben Simmons, bro, at some point, you have got to develop a mid-range jump shot.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Be like,
you need to mature, dude. You need to get your game on point.
Yeah. And it starts with that mid-range jump shot. He has got to develop a mid-range jump shot. And then we'll talk about a long range, but his short range is really good. His mid-range needs a lot of work, and he needs to hit more than 71% in the free throw line. So it's definitely a good situation in Houston if they did that, because now they can build around him, and it's pretty inexpensive to do it now.
Exactly. Well, Patrick, we got a couple of topics to jump in there before we get out of here. So first off, the NBA draft, I don't know. Honestly, look, I don't know too much about it. I know there's a few players. They're talking about LaMelo Ball going number 1 to Minnesota. The Warriors at 2 is the one that's interesting to me, because they could take the big man out of Memphis, James Wiseman. Golden State is going to have a lot of people returning. Steph Curry and Klay Thompson are going to be returning. They got Andrew Wiggins in the trade with Minnesota during the season. Draymond Green's still there. Get Wiseman there. Golden State to me is dangerous. They get these two back and they're healthy.
But now, okay, and I know there's a lot of talk about LaMelo Ball going 1. What about that kid from Georgia?
Yes,
I'm not thinking his name right now.
Oh man, I had just seen it. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it.
I'm looking it up right now.
Because I just seen an article with him. Yeah, Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
And yeah, he looks to be pretty good. I forget who's sitting at number 3, but Anthony Edwards is a scorer, man. That dude can put the ball in the basket if he gets into a good situation to where he can go.
Has a fantastic drive, has a great mid-range game, and he has a really good long-range game. You're only really having to build on those first 2 right now. Surprisingly enough, me personally, I don't know what the State's going to do. Who's the tall kid?
And
Wiseman.
James
now they could go with Wiseman, but do they really need him? They honestly, they could go with Wiseman, or they could go with Edwards, and that's a great pick for Golden State. I can tell you right now, though, whoever Golden State picks, and I don't know who's sitting at 3rd. I'm gonna have to look that up.
I think Wiseman would be a good pick for them simply because they can use a big man to kind of close some things up. Right now, they have a lot of perimeter guys, but if they can get a big guy that maybe they could throw the ball into and he can do some things inside, that would do wonders for shooters like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson.
If they do need that big guy like that, I didn't know if they needed him or not.
Look, given those 2 shooters a little bit more room to operate can only help you. And it's not like there's a lot of room to operate anyway. So, but man.
Who is that?
But shoot. Hey.
Charlotte. Charlotte has the 3rd pick.
Charlotte needs a lot too.
Yeah. And Chicago is behind them. So,
so Chicago, man, Chicago is kind of interesting to me. If those young players can continue to develop, I can see them having a pretty decent squad, especially with Billy Donovan up there coaching now. I think they can start to put some things together. Zach LaVine, Lauri Markkanen, they have some guys that can put some numbers up there. So now they got a coach who might be able to get a little bit more out of them. I've always been a fan of Billy Donovan's. I think he is a very good coach, probably underrated. And now he can get up there, got a fresh start in Chicago. He might be able to do some things. Ooh, so Patrick, real quick before we get out of here, man, I got to get your thoughts on the Miami Marlins hiring Kim Ang as the new general manager. I mean, so this is obviously.
I was surprised. I was really surprised they went in that direction. But personally, I think it's a great. I think it's a great hire. I think it's a great hire for Miami.
Me too.
Because he is very innovative. And he is going to pick the right people for Miami. I'm not going to sit here and say that Miami is going to win.
It's a she.
I'm sorry. I'm so used to saying he in this world. But I do think it opens up the gate for a lot of more females to be hired in these positions. San Francisco hired the female coach for
for us, 49ers.
The 49ers for the practice squad. Yep. And dude, phenomenal. Look at how well the practice squad works. Now, granted, San Francisco's went through a lot of injuries and they really haven't been able to benefit from that. But I can tell you, man, I think this is a great hire. I'm really excited to see what Miami puts on the field. Not necessarily next year, but probably in about 2 years, possibly 3. I'm really excited about it because I think it opens up the door for a lot of females to come in and do that job, and I think it's well needed, and she definitely deserves the look at.
Yeah, and so I don't know if you caught my shorty on it because I did do a shorty on this yesterday as she was getting
I
introduced.
have not watched it yet. I just hadn't had a chance yet.
All right. Well, I mean, hey, the main thing I said was look, she worked. She put in the work, man. I mean, she was in the Yankees and the Dodgers organizations, serving kind of like as an assistant GM. So it's not like she just kind of stumbled onto this role, man. She has been on your two of your most storied franchises, not just in baseball, in sports.
In sports,
And
look at what she did. I mean, look at what she did with the Dodgers. I mean,
right.
I mean, look, and what a lot of people do not know is most of that was her. She told people, this is who we need to make this happen. And look what they did.
Dude, and so
I think they listened to her 100%. No, because I really do think she's the type that says, no, leave your pitchers out there for 6 innings. Let's see what that happens. No, she's going to bring that to Miami. She has a lot more say. It's going to be interesting.
And give the Marlins credit for pulling the trigger on this deal to bring her in, and also what she is inheriting. The Marlins have a lot of good. You just mentioned pitching. They have a lot of good young pitching there in Miami, and for her to be able to inherit that, maybe she does go in there and says, "Hey, look, keep these people in here, keep these starters in here. We're gonna go 6 innings, and then we'll go ahead and bring the bullpen in after that. But if they're going good, they staying in."
She is definitely a huge fan of middle relief. That's the reason why I like her. Huge fan of middle relief, and a lot of teams. I think bringing middle relief back is going to be a huge stepping stone. But only time will tell. But no, I do think this is a great hire for Miami, and like I said, I don't expect to see too much next year. She's inherited as much as she has inherited. That's good. She's also inherited a lot that is bad, especially with that lineup. They can't produce runs, but they can't stop runs either. And it's those pitchers are some of those pitchers shouldn't even have over 4 ERAs, and some of them do, and they shouldn't. Not with what you have in that lineup, and they just do. So I'm excited to see what she's going to do. I'm not really too pumped about next year, but the year after that, I'm going to be very intrigued to see what she does.
Well, all right, Patrick. Well, with that, we will wrap up this Breath of Fresh Air webcast. So good show, everybody. Make sure you go to the Breath of Fresh Air the Breath of Fresh Air YouTube channel and smash that subscribe button, and keep the likes coming on the Breath of Fresh Air Facebook page. So we'll see about what we do for the rest of the week. I know you kind of dealing with some things, Patrick. Do you think you'll be able to have a shorty or not?
I am shooting for it. I want to talk about the Atlanta Braves and this crappy deal that they put out there for a pitcher. I'll leave it at that.
All right.
I'm so upset. This is not a good move.
And I'll see about having another shorty in the coming days, like in the next day or two. So we'll see how things go. But other than that, hey, thanks for those who have came on there to watch the show. Thank you, Bear, for participating and leaving the comments on there. And we should be back later on this week. But if not, everybody have a good rest of the week, and we will talk soon.